Deploying on a MEU was one of the best and worst experiences of my entire life. I was deployed for 7 months with 22nd MEU on the USS Kearsarge, and here's a picture of our living quarters, also known as the berthing. As you can see, it is very narrow and pretty cramped. At any given time, there could be over 100 Marines and sailors living in the same quarters. And there isn't a lot of space in between the aisles to really move around comfortably, as well as the racks themselves. They're pretty small. For context, this was the size of the bed. By the way, this was not my bed, but there's also compartments on the side of the frame, as well as if you lift it up, there's multiple compartments you can store your clothing and belongings in. There's an outlet on the top, as well as a headlamp. So it's somewhat doable, but it was definitely less than ideal, as well as the fact people that live in your aisles, they might snore, might be playing loud music. Some people just keep their dirty laundry stuffed in their racks or hanging out. There's shoes everywhere. People are so close together, and there wasn't really good air conditioning or circulation on that ship too, so people got sweaty because it was hot. So you can imagine the smell on the ship and the berthing was absolutely awful. There was 3 separate chow halls on the ship. There's one for lower enlisted E6 and below, the chief's mess for E7 and above, and the officers' mess for officers. On average, we waited about 1.5 to 2 hours in line for chow for each meal every day, just because they had to accommodate a lot of Marines and sailors, as you can imagine. Just for one serving of food too, by the way. You barely had a chance to get seconds. A lot of us had to resort to the salad bar or just, holding on to non-perishable foods for a certain amount of time. But again, some of that food was better than some of the chow hall stuff I've had on Camp Lejeune, believe it or not. The gyms were surprisingly decent. However, they were pretty small and they had to accommodate a lot of Marines and sailors at any given point, so it was almost always packed. And we all had a lot of free time, so everyone and their mothers were hitting up the gym. Sometimes though, we did conduct PTs in the well deck or on the flight line, and there's me and my boys after we did a 5K on the top of the flight line. There was a small PX on the ship that sold tobacco products, food, hygiene products, and other miscellaneous items too. But also, believe it or not, there's a Starbucks on the ship, an actual Starbucks. I'm not gonna lie, I went there quite a bit. We had a lot of free time, and there wasn't any Wi-Fi on the ship, and we only got service if we were in port. I brought a Nintendo Switch with me to play just to kill time. A lot of us played poker or some kind of card game, board games, reading, anything we could do to stay entertained during the very depressing period of time. We also smoked a lot of cigarettes. I'm a supply Marine, so I worked in an office space, and I was very fortunate enough to have computers that had some internet connection, so time from time I would browse the internet or catch up on the news. Also planned out some tattoo ideas. The camaraderie we built with each other, as well as little moments like this, is what kept our morale high at times in sea. But what made the whole experience worth in the end was the liberty periods we spent in 8 different European countries, which I'll be covering in my next video, so stay tuned.